So, if you guys recall, Kanye was dropped by Adidas, went from being a billionaire worth $2.2 billion to less than $1 billion because of some anti-Semitic comments he made on a podcast a few weeks ago. And so he made some interesting comments that has been flying around Twitter. And I want you guys to get your reaction on this, and let me know what you guys think about it on the other side. Let's show this here real quick.
I went from being a multi-billionaire to not being able to use my Apple Pay 4 nights ago. I couldn't use my Apple Pay because somehow Adidas was able to legally go in and freeze my money. And when I see this, I think, well, if this could happen to me, this could happen to other Americans. And for what?
Good question. I believe he self-identifies as Ye.
Yes.
It's true.
But bottom line, he is pulling up that point. If someone crosses someone else politically or whatever the reason, we're not supporting or against. It's just the fact of the matter that someone says something and all of your value is frozen.
Yep. Does wrong think lead to a loss of your constitutional right to property is the question.
Absolutely. The fact that everything can be taken from you by a third party.
Is it any different than the PayPal policy?
Absolutely the same.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
The exact same.
Exactly
Yep.
the same, Greg.
You don't think like we do when we take away your rights.
Yeah. Who's the authority to say misinformation?
Yeah.
You know? But
Yeah.
it sounded to me in that clip that he's more making a political run for presidency in 2024, like he said he was going to do. To me, that sounded like bringing up other Americans. That sounded like a political stance to me. But what he is also doing is making a case for Bitcoin. It's also exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's the danger of this legislation that's coming. If it is issued by the same people who received these funds, ill-gotten funds, at all parties, and I'm sorry, I keep coming back to it, but that's the principle, guys. How can we accept legislation issued by people who benefited from this huge disaster that just occurred? And situations like Kanye, where he makes a statement or has a belief, and yet another commercial like Adidas, not even government, Adidas, having access to freeze or request a freeze of his assets, literally crippling the man financially.
Well, I don't know if he was crippled, but I understand what you're saying. I guess I'm trying to figure out what if there was some sort of legal binding contract that they had, whereas like if he said something, if he says these things, then they have the right to take that away. If he signed on the dotted line that he agreed that he wouldn't say certain things or he wouldn't bring paint some sort of bad picture for Adidas, then I think that's another conversation we should also be having, because if that was the case, he goes out and says anti-Semitic things, and then Adidas is attached to them, then Adidas reserves the right to take that money. But I'm curious, like, how true, because Kanye said so many different things, right? And some of it makes sense, some of it don't. I'm curious how true it is that Adidas froze his assets, or was it, okay, we're just cutting you off now. Like, you keep whatever we gave you, and then we're just not paying you anymore.
So Apple Cards by Goldman Sachs, right?
Yeah.
Is Apple Pay also run through them? I don't know for sure.
Adidas has the right to pull their sponsorship for whatever reason they deem is damaging to the brand. I guarantee you that's in a contract.
Yeah.
Contract. Now, what Kanye said is that Adidas froze his bank account, the whole thing. Does that mean Adidas money mixed with other money in a single account? Does that mean they just froze an account that was only for Adidas payout? Those things are need to be known.
Yeah.
But he still makes the point altogether that if you get in bed with somebody, whether it's Adidas or the federal government through a CBD, through a digitalized coin, said organization has the power to freeze an account when it's centralized like this. So we're looking at these government stable coins that want to come out, whether it's through Ripple or whether it's through whatever token, Jaime would just brought up. Like, you've got to understand that once you go digital with your currency issued through a federal government, they can do this to you at any time for any reason. Oh, you were 3 cents off on your IRS taxes. Freeze your account. Oh, we saw you went to this strip club. We don't like that. Freeze your account.
Yeah.
We saw you made this transaction with an old vehicle that's not properly filed with our Department of Transportation or whatever. Freeze your account, right? Just Adidas aside, that's what's going to be happening in this space in the name of regulation, in the name of protection, if we don't figure out a decentralized stable coin at some point. And that's what a lot of people are working on now. And it is not easy. There is no clear answer. Otherwise, it would have been done. But these are the things that you need to think about. Bitcoin is immune from all this. As long as you have your seed phrase, Bitcoin is immune. That's why it's different. But DeFi is the future in terms of usability in everyday life. So again, we're marching forward trying to figure this out. And in the meantime, you're going to play a whole lot of centralized games that can burn you bad before we finally get to the end answer that works.